mean,
are we like right into
that?
it?
Of course. Yeah, you and I talk about families throwing Molotov cocktails. That's what the world wants.
Well, I think, that's the new family that Black Lives Matter is looking for. The dad, the mom, the two kids, they got their picnic basket filled with Molotov cocktails and a couple umbrellas to use as shields. And
I don't know if you
the
can
new
call
way
them the
to
mom and
loot
dad,
riot.
Don. I don't know if you can call them the mom and dad. They're two people that identify as parents, and that's who they are. They don't have to be mother and father. You don't have to gender role them. They can both be a father, sometimes both be mother, and they're not even children, they're just beings that came out of them. And they're all there to light shit on fire and knock down a statue. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, they're non-binary people who burn things.
When I was a kid, if my dad found out I vandalized something, even for a cause, he would have kicked my ass.
Oh.
It could have been to defend him. But Dad, the people who made the statue were calling you a name. He's like, I don't care. You don't break stuff that they're gonna know you're my kid. You have the same name as me. It would have kicked my ass and made me apologize anyway.
Dude, if I went in the kitchen and got something to drink and walked out and didn't turn the light out, my dad would hit me with a chain like I was Corn Pop and he was Joe Biden.
Corn Pop was tough, though. Corn Pop was a bad dude. He was a bad dude. He's like,
so was my dad.
Well, your dad was also real. I don't think Corn Pop was. Corn Pop is Joe Biden's weird, fake black friend.
Yeah.
Which is cool to have, I guess. It's like, if you're going to run for president, you should have a cool fake black friend or Kamala Harris, whichever one you want to have.
Yeah, well, I think part of the reason we have a lot of people out there running wild in the streets is because they didn't have a real dad.
Yeah, I think part of it's that, but I also think part of it is that we're such an attention world. Even if they had a dad, everything is about now getting likes. They want to be in the video so they can say, look, I was in this. I'm doing what everyone else is doing. They want attention. I mean, right before I talked to you, I had to go block 5 people because me, who no one knows, is being trolled nonstop by 5 other weird people. And they just they want attention. They know their 5 friends will like it if they say they hate me or hate you on your show or whatever. And they get excited for hate. It's like mini groups of people going after Frankenstein, and that's their thing. And their parents are probably proud of them. Oh, good job. You got that guy to block you. We're proud of you, son.
Yeah, Twitter is the equivalent of townspeople carrying torches, chasing a monster through the forest.
But Facebook is if those people were all therapists chasing you through. They're all telling you how you should live your life. Twitter just wants to kill you. Facebook wants to tell you why you're wrong and how you're doing it.
Yeah, and Facebook has always had the disclaimer. I don't usually post things like this, but that's the equivalent of when you're dating a girl, or if a woman's watching this and her dating a guy, and the first thing they said is, I don't like drama. That's the one thing. I'm not into drama. That person is 100% into drama.
So into drama. I was just saying that the other day. It's like, all my life I've dated girls, and they've always said at the beginning, it's you and me against the world. And the older I got, I realized that meant they're fighting the world. Like, those people are legitimately in a fight with most of the world, and they want me to understand that. I thought it was like a nice thing. They're like, no, everyone I've ever dated, my family, I'm warring with them, and I'm going to one day war with you too. I'm letting you know. It's us against the world, but we're going to split up, and I'm going to hurt you too.
Yeah. Pat, grab your high-powered laser. We're going to take a police helicopter out of the sky tonight.
Okay. We're in. That's it. She's like, well, I'll blow you first. I'm like, okay, I get the laser. You get the helicopter. It's like,
you talked me into it.
But she's like, do you care if I borrow my ex-boyfriend's helicopter? I'm like, no, I'm not jealous of his helicopter. It's fine. He's still kind of in the war. I get it. You have to keep some people around. It's insane how much people want to fight now, but don't want to fight. That's the other thing. And I'm not Mr. Tough Guy, whatever, but we really were raised. Like, I was on Twitter the other day, and some guy started giving me guff, this guy from Australia. It's weird how many Compound fans are from Australia. There are a bunch of them, and then they'll talk to you, but like, they seem drunk. I'm like, oh yeah, it's night for you. I know it's noon for me, but you're drunk right now. And the one guy was going back and forth, and at one point he's like, I don't like how he called me woke, which I am not. And then he said that he also said that I'm too tolerant and passive. I'm like, on Twitter I am. I go, I would have already hit you in face to face. And then somebody retweeted that and said, look at Pat, can't take it. Now he wants to resort to violence. It's like, I'm not going to resort to violence, but like if you were, no, we won't, I would never say things the way you do on Twitter face to face to most people. They're so afraid. They're so tough there. Not even about being a tough guy. It's about respect. Eye contact causes respect.
No, exactly. And Florentine had the great joke is like, you know what we're missing in this day and age? A good punch in the face.
Yeah.
When we were kids, you talk shit about somebody, they found out about it, they followed you out of school, after school, and they followed you home and they punched you in the face right in front of your house. And that taught you, don't say shit. By the way, I just want to say congratulations for jumping in a time machine, going to 1940, getting the word guff, and coming back here, all in the same sentence.
I do guff, gumption. I use those all the time. That pisses people off. If I'm gonna say we should go back to olden times, we should use olden time words.
I agree. I think women should be dames and men should call each other Mac.
Maybe not floozies and skirts, but definitely dame. I think dame's nice. I call people ma'am all the time, and then some of them still get mad, but it's short for madam. It just means it's the female sir. It's a polite thing. I don't know when that became old.
Yeah, but why didn't we all we did was take the D out and put an apostrophe, so it's the same amount of characters. I'm not.
Yeah, because if you give them the D, then it's a whole new problem. That's Theo.
Madam.
That the D, I guess, is dick, and you take the D out of them.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what it is.
Oh, I haven't. Yeah, in this lockdown, I haven't been able to put the D in one of them. So
yeah, it's been. I started this lockdown living with someone, and we broke up during it. So yeah, I'm the same route.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been such a fun quarantine. I've forgotten there was a quarantine because of everything else I've gone through. I'm like people are like, how's your whole month or whatever? How's this all going? And I'll start to tell them, they're like, no, I mean COVID. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot there's COVID. I've had everything else going on. It's been.
I haven't thought about COVID since May.
I thought about it where it's like, oh yeah, I was supposed to have this gig, or I was supposed to go here and do this. That's it. Just cancellations of weird things like that, and the fact that we're doing this like this. And now I've thought about it it's a hindrance in work, but not in any illness way. I mean, yeah, I'm just used to putting on a mask. I'll wear a mask if you tell me it's the only way I'm going to get a sandwich. If you're like, right, you want this burrito, put on a mask. I'm like, then fuck it, I'm wearing the mask.
I agree. I'll play by those rules if I'm going in to buy a 6-pack of beer, whatever, and I'm going to the store for I don't want to brag, but I just power washed my garage and then went to Target. So obviously I'm living my best life here.
I'm going to Target right after this. I mean, listen, Target's the only place that you can see women trying to like dress nice now. If they don't go to the gym, because there's some thirsty women out there during this COVID, and they're out and they know that you can see them at Target, but you can still be far enough away. So the big girls are wearing like the stretch clothes they shouldn't be wearing. But if you haven't seen women in a while, you're getting hungry.
And also, I get by the Target by me here in Jersey. I seem to get recognized a lot in there. So, in an ironic way, my target audience is actually in Target.
Normally, I would say it's the most hack joke, but that was the most specific, perfect time to do that joke. That was it. That is your target audience.
I had to do it somewhere,
and that's the perfect place to do it. Getting back to the punch in the face thing, when I was in, I want to say 9th grade or 10th grade, there was these two kids. I think I've told this in another podcast, whatever. I was in 10th grade, and there was these two kids. They were just two kids in high school. They were friends, and they were pretty. They're pretty guys, whatever. And I would not stop calling them gay. Like, every moment I had, I'm like, gay. Like, and to the point where it's like, one of them would raise their hand, like a question, like, what's the answer? I'm like, gay. And people would laugh, and I wouldn't stop. So one day, when I walked out of math class, they beat the shit out of me. They both jumped me. When they were done, I'm like, yeah, you had to do it together because you're gay. Like, I still wouldn't stop. But I got suspended for a week. They didn't, because I was being that way. And when I came back, I realized, yeah, you know what? Don't fuck with those two guys. There's no point in fucking with them. They were smart enough to get together and beat me up. I am done with my joke. I learned my lesson. I'm friendly with one of them now on Facebook, and he's come to a couple of my shows. It's like it's over. But if someone's doing that to me on Twitter, it's like there's no chance. Even if they want to get revenge on me, I'd rather have the face-to-face, the argument, the real talk of what's going on, clear it up. This dumb shit where you just look what I'm doing and they don't care and they're hiding behind a fake name, that all bothers me too.
No, exactly. And you know, and that's the thing, man. Like you had an ass beaten coming to you. It happened. And then the three of you marched in the Pride Parade the next year. There's a happy ending.
I mean, we all fuck now. I mean, it's great. I was just mad I wasn't gay with. That was it. I was like, why aren't I gay with you? Come on.
Were they like the gay guys in Seinfeld?
No.
Excuse me, what did you say to him?
I wish they weren't gay. Like, there was nothing gay about them. Nothing. They were just two straight kids who played football. Nothing gay. Like, there wasn't even a reason. I think that's why it was funnier to people, because they just weren't gay. They were just friends. Two men who were friends walking around. And I'm like, nope, gay.
Yeah, that is kind of gay, though.
It was. To have friends.
Two guys being friends.
Just being friends is gay. What are you doing?
Here's the other thing, Pat, about Twitter. Like, I was thinking about this the other day, which is it's you got the one side of people that we're talking about who want to get in a fight, who want to get angry, who want to have to voice their opinion. It's always negative, but it's the people that are caving into them and responding to them who are just as big of lunatics as they are. Because nowadays, you know, a student does something at NYU and writes it on Twitter, and NYU go, we'll change the rules.
Right.
And they're so fucking reactionary, instead of like going, all right, that's just one person, who cares, or two people, you know? It's like people react to shit so fast now because they're afraid they're going to get called a racist, or they're going to be part of cancel culture. But 99% of that shit, Pat, is like having an abusive ex-boyfriend or girlfriend where you're in a text fight with them at like 2 a.m. They're going, fuck you, you know, you ruined my life. You know, I never want to see you again. And you think, oh my God, I'm the worst person in the world. And then the next day you wake up and there's a text and they go, oh, sorry, I had a few drinks last night. I apologize. Can I come over? Can we talk this out? That's the same thing with Twitter. 99% of that stuff, if you just confronted them, they go, oh yeah, I was just kind of angry.
Most of them actually will message you, will DM you and be like, hey man, we cool. And that's fine. And I'm always cool with it. But yeah, I'm the idiot who, listen, at the beginning, I was doing comedy 13 years. So the first 10, nobody knows who the fuck I am at all. And all of a sudden I get to be on Kumia and shows like that. And all of a sudden these people pay attention to me a little bit. And some of them are being nice. And then some of them are being assholes. And I'm not used to how to deal with it. So I've always reacted back to people. So I'm commenting back and I'm realizing how I'm building this snowball. It's so much worse. So I've learned some of them are doing it because they want to bust balls, because they see people like us together on shows busting balls. And they're like, I want to be like them. I want to joke around like them. That whole mentality that used to be like the Opie and Anthony show, where all the fans were like, well, all those guys shit on each other, so we should shit on them because I want to be like them. But it's like, no, we don't know each other. It's weird. Like, you know who I am. You called me a no name and a nobody and a no talent, but you know who I am. And I don't know who you are. And you have a fake name and a fake picture, or you're pretending you're a lady, or you are a lady, but you're not the lady in the fucking picture. I know, because I dated you. And that's not what you look like. Anyway, that's a deep cut right there. Anyway, so, but yeah, it's that thing where I've talked to people that get trolled, like Landau, all the compound people, Landau, Gino, they're like, ignore it. Just block them. Who cares? You don't need them. There's so many more people that like you that don't. I'm like, yeah, but I almost feel weird about blocking them. Like, that I lost or something. And I'm like, no, that's stupid. Just let it go.
No, but what I'm saying, Pat, you can engage all you want.
Yeah, but I start arguing. Like, I'm not going to win the Twitter argument with a troll.
I see everybody else busting their balls. But the thing you're not doing is giving in terms of, like, you know, you get into a thing with somebody and then you go, you know what, I'm just going to get out of comedy now. I mean, that's how people react. That's why fucking laws are changing. Executive orders are being drawn up because 3 people on Twitter were mad one night. Like, it's insane. Yeah. It's like, it's such a tiny, tiny, tiny infinitesimal portion of society that's, you know, like being super extreme. And people are listening. People in government are fucking listening. When we started doing that metal show and it started to catch on, people would email me through my website, and I would get a few a week maybe, and at the beginning I would write them back, and then eventually the haters start to come out, and I'd get, well, dude, you guys never fucking talk about this band. How come you guys don't talk about this? The show's not as good as it used to be. Blah blah blah. And I would write those people back and go, hey, I'm sorry, you haven't been happy with the show lately. But, we've added a bunch of new segments, and, we're just trying to make the show the best it can be. Hope you'll give us another chance, right? Kill them with kindness. Right. Dude, every fucking time I get an email the next day, bro, man, I can't believe you wrote me back. Yeah, me and my buddies were, we were having beers last night, and they kind of egged me on. I didn't really mean what I wrote. Yeah, it's really cool that you wrote me back. So it's just fucking people looking for attention.
Yeah, and believe me, because then I had to start thinking about it. Like, I've definitely gone on podcasts and joking around, talk shit about other people, and then when those people confront me, I'm like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that on that show. Sorry, it's kind of how I feel. Or like the other day, there's a younger guy named Ski Mask who's doing a podcast. I don't know if you've seen him around them. And he's a good kid. He's actually moving this way, and he's driven and stuff. And him and I have talked, and I've been on his show and other shows. Now, he has 8 people on his show each time. So there's 8 million people. Someone's in a tub. They've got math. It's a lot of talking and going on. So I've kind of said a couple times that's too much, and they should have talent on the show. Now, I wasn't saying when I said it that he's not talented. I think the kid's got drive. I mean, it sounds dumb, but the smartest thing he ever did was put a fucking ski mask on, because everyone's like, holy shit, who's this guy? And it's brilliant. It's very Slipknot-esque. It really is. Like, look it up. And then you realize after the mask, oh, there is something with talent there. And I just was talking with him because some of his trolls, whatever, started posting things about me talking shit and going, you saying I have no talent, pulling out of context. It's like, first of all, where do you guys get the time to pull clips of me? Like, thank you for the one other view. I barely got any views. Thank you for helping me out and get me more people are gonna watch my shit and go to my YouTube now. I appreciate it. But I messaged him and I'm like, yeah, hey man, sorry if I said that. I mean, I do think he's talented. He's a good kid. I'm actually gonna be doing a show with him, a comedy show, because I got him on a spot. But I felt bad about that. So there are times where I'll definitely say I'm sorry afterwards, and then I'll say it on here like I am now, because I'd rather put it out there. If I'm gonna say one fucked up thing, I'll do that. Those trolls will have the DM conversation. They'll say sorry, but they won't tweet, oh, we talked about it and it's cool. They'll never fucking put it out there to the other 18 scary people that want to yell at me. They don't call off the dogs. I'll do it here. I'll say out loud, like, hey, man, if I said that one guy stinks, I was wrong. Person doesn't stink. Whatever. Call off the dogs. That's the thing, too. Just own your shit.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. But again, there's no head-to-head confrontation. You're not going to see that person in the neighborhood or in the schoolyard. So there's no accountability.
That's my new thing. I think we have enough time. If comedy doesn't pick up, if we can do like drive-in show, I'll do shows at people's homes that have a problem with me. I'll just go to their house. I'll do a show, and after the show, if you still want to fight, then fine, we'll fight.
That's actually a really funny idea, man. Because hey, that creates a new income stream for us. It's a gig.
Yeah, someone trolls the show, and we get a lineup of people that person's talked shit about. We go to their house. We split the door with them. They get half the door. We get half the door at their house. You can charge whatever you want. And then afterwards, if he didn't have a good time, we'll fight. If not, we'll all hang up and let it go. We'll just be like, it was cool, and let it go. And that person can go on stage, too. We'll do a comedy show and a roast battle. That person, because they've been ready to go, they can roast us with their little Twitter roasts, and we can say our shit and let it go. That'd be better.
Yeah, and we can wear a ski mask.
Yeah, he could be on the show.
Yeah.
He could be on it, and he could have sell advertising on the ski. That's what I told him he should do. Like NASCAR, he should do it. No, but I'm excited that he's moving this way because he's a good kid and he's driven. I mean, my God, he was no one a year ago, and now everybody knows who he is now. I give him people like that. I love people that took advantage of COVID. There are a couple of comics, people that really are shining right now. There's a kid, Ryan Long. All his videos out now are fantastic. He's been putting together. Andrew Schultz, Tim Dillon, those guys. All the compound guys, you guys kept working the entire time, which is a lot of places shut down. You guys were working the entire time.
Oh, I totally took advantage. In fact, I've been selling a vaccine out of my trunk for the past 3 months.
Nice. What's it for? Not even for COVID. It's just a vaccine. It's for
any virus. It works all viruses.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's what we're all trying to do. We're all trying to stay creative and do stuff. You know, I got my newest comedy album put out on vinyl during the downtime because I actually had time to like deal with, you know, finding the right factory and coordinating, you know, all the pieces and getting the masters and the artwork and all that stuff together. And, you know, I got that done. And for me, like, that's such a dream come true because I'm old school and I love, you know,
and your fans will appreciate that so much. Your fans are like you, so they'd be so cool to have a vinyl. You know, it's like,
but if I only sell one copy and the rest are in boxes in my house, I'll be happy just that I had a record on vinyl. So
yeah,
I
you'll sell more because you can autograph it. That's the cool thing. If like I listened to your album and I liked your album a lot, and
Thank you.
But if I wanted to keep, you know, what can I do? I can show people it's on my phone. Like, what can I do with it? Like, it'd be cool to like go watch you perform and then get the vinyl and have you sign that. That'd be a cool thing to hang up somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have that kind of thing for comedians anymore. Just besides signing a shirt or whatever, everything is downloadable. Yeah, so like to have that would be, if you're a fan of you, why wouldn't you want that? That's a cool thing. Even if you don't listen to it, I don't need to have a record player to have it.
No, exactly. My parents won't listen to it, but they, you know, put it in a frame and put it up in their house. So
I like how like they won't. It's not that they're like, well, that's not our cup of tea. Like, we refuse. We refuse to hear what you have to say. We didn't listen to you when you wouldn't turn the fucking light off. We're not listening to you now.
Exactly. It all goes back to that.
It always goes back to that. Like, my dad never really hit us, but it was, you're an idiot a lot. And now you can't say that now. You're just dumb. You're stupid. Like, my dad always said to us, like, the Special Olympics had an old saying. It's like, after the race, everybody gets a hug. That was their saying. If we did something dumb, my dad would go, "Oh, you need a hug." And he didn't mean it like lovingly. He was calling us retarded. Like, that was what he said to us out loud. It was, and that's what he meant. And we knew it. He put it in our head. So even though people would hear him say it, go, "Oh, that's sweet." Like, no, it's not sweet.
No,
it's not. He thinks we should get a bronze. That's what he thinks we should get for what we're doing right now.
See, I had the same similar. My dad was my little league coach one year, and when we would have practice, and my dad would pitch batting practice. Every time I got up to bat, I would look out to the infield and I would see all my teammates wincing because they knew exactly what was coming because he did the same thing every time. First pitch, fastball, right into the small of my back. Oh. That was to toughen me up.
Yeah.
You know, you could do that back then. You were allowed to, you know, throw a hard ball at a child and get away with it.
I've been hit. One time my dad took me and my brother to a field near my house just to work on baseball, and I was in the outfield, and my brother's very competitive, and he was probably like 12, 13, and my dad's very competitive. So my brother was at the plate, and like my dad wasn't throwing it over the plate, I guess, and my brother was yelling, like, you know, throwing over, you know, he's kind of like talking shit to my dad about throwing. So my dad threw a high, hard one inside and kind of like brushed him off. And I watched my brother get ready to charge the mound. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I was like, how white trash can we be right now? I'm in the outfield just chilling. It's my dad and brother about to fight. It was just like, I'm happy I'm not up there because I would have just bunted and then ran. That's it.
Yeah, but you're right, man. It's just now everything's so like hypersensitive. But
and I'm not saying we were all right. Listen, there's a fair balance. There is a good thing about tolerance. There is a good thing about acceptance in certain ways. But to bow down to it without understanding it is stupid. To just say everything should be allowed, nobody should ever be told they're wrong, that's stupid. There are times, that we didn't listen to people. My dad was always yell first, listen later. And it's like, sometimes it's like, dude, you were yelling at me about a thing I didn't do. You, in your head, you have this scenario. I've dated people like that too. They build a scenario up in their head so much, they fight with you first, and then afterwards when they're done, and if you fight back with them, you make it even worse. You're throwing fuel on a fire. There really isn't a fire. And then later on, if you sit back and let them do their thing and let them cool and then go, but this is what really happened, they're like, oh, yeah, sorry, my bad. But you just screamed at me and hurt my feelings and all this shit. So, like, that was wrong then, too. But nowadays, it's like you never yell. You just agree with everyone. And what anyone says, they're right. Agree, believe all women, all men, all whatever. Believe everybody. It's like, no, there's still a lot of liars. And there's actually better liars now because they know they're being believed.
Yeah, right, exactly. And that's it. Goes, again, back to social media. that, you know, if someone's a fan of yours, you know, they all have this perception of you by the way they've seen you, whether it's on stage or on television or on a, you know, a podcast, a webcast. But they build this idea of who you are in their head. But if they don't know you, they only know a tiny piece about you, and so they have to create something in their mind. And I've gotten like messages on Facebook, which I'll check maybe once every 2 months. Because it's like, if you're my friend, you know, you just call me or text me.
Right.
You know, like most of the people, if I answered everybody that wrote me on Facebook, that's all I do all day, right?
I wish I was like you. I answer every goddamn, and I know everyone's like, stop it. I answer every fucking thing. The second I say, I'm like, somebody wrote this. I better Instagram, Twitter, everything. And I'm like, why am I answering these things? Like,
I'm gonna
right. Most of them know how to get a hold of
you
me
all day, every day for now.
But I'd answer you. It's like, but everyone, I just, no matter who they are, I answer. And sometimes it's just like, and they're just trying to fuck with me too, half of them. And I'm like, whatever, I'm still doing it.
So, but here's what's happened before, Pat, is like, so they'll write to me and this is, I'm now seeing this months later, right? So the first message will come up from 2 months ago. Oh, hey man, I'm a big fan of your comedy, big fan of that metal show. You know, met you, Jim and Eddie at an event once. You guys are super cool. Just wanted to say hi. Then a month later.
Which, by the way, there's no way to respond to that besides hi, Bat. Like, what do you say to that? Yeah.
I haven't even seen this.
Right.
So now now a month goes by. There's a second message from the same person. Hey, dude, I don't know if you got my last message, but anyway, you know, big fan. I'm a Jersey guy too. You know, I've seen you stand up a bunch of times. You know, you should, you know, write me back. And then the next message. Now I haven't seen that one until now. Then the next one's a week later. What the fuck, man? You can't talk to your fans? You don't answer people on Facebook? Then the next one's from 3 days after that. Fuck you. You fucking suck. Your comedy's terrible. That metal show sucks. And then it's like, they just created this whole thing in their head about that I didn't respond, so I must be a piece of shit, and now I'm complete garbage. Like, but I haven't seen any of this until now, so I haven't even responded. So they have to create this whole drama in their head. So then I just would write back, hey, sorry I didn't get back to you. My mom died.
Right, nice. That's a good move. And they're like, whatever, fuck your mom. And your mom was dead earlier. Whatever.
And then block. No, yeah, sorry I didn't get back to you. My mom died. And then block them.
Yeah, you're blocked. Her last wish was for me to block you. That's what she said. Now you're done. What you said there, like when I first started doing comedy, I was working at a comedy club too. So they had me like booking, and believe me, as a young comic, that was dumb because it gave me a bigger head than I should have had. It also made people hate me for no reason, but I learned both sides of it. But one thing is I had to see all those emails, and it was crazy. What you just said is how so many young comics act. It would be emails, or they knew it was me as a booker, which I tried to make sure people didn't know. But when they did know, they'd Facebook message me. Same thing. I wouldn't see it. I'd be working or be with my family or whatever, and it'd be like, "Hey man, would love to work the club. I'll send you avails, whatever." Okay. Like an hour later, oh, just making sure you got the message, and then like a day later, it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, you can't book me? Oh, because I'm not your friend. I don't suck your dick. You whatever. I can't fuck. And then, like, I'll respond back, and I'm like, hey, man, I didn't see all that. Like, oh, yeah, sorry. Didn't mean that. I'm like, they're like, so you're not going to book me now because I yelled at you? And I'm like, well, no, you're not funny. Like, if you were funny, I would let all know. Like, it's nothing, I don't care. I don't care if you're Hitler. If you could draw, then I'll fucking book you. I mean, that's fine. And we've all had girlfriends who did what you just did. Like, we've all been at that point in our life where we message somebody and where they didn't respond. So then we don't want to write back, but we hit the space bar so it sends a bubble. And we're like, oh yeah, sorry, didn't mean to hit that thing. That's the worst thing about social media. We know we have instant gratification now. And when you and I were growing up, if you called someone and they weren't home, they just didn't exist. Like, you could just walk outside and if you didn't want to answer the phone, you just went outside and then nobody could find you. And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
People don't remember that, how great it was. I would just go play And there was no like getting a hold of us. Your mom just screamed, "Get the fuck home" out loud, and you had to find out. You know what I mean? But like, there was no finding where I am, tracking me down, telling me your every single thought. So when I did talk to you 2 days later, you had interesting shit to say because I couldn't read on Facebook and Twitter everything you fucking did.
You mentioned Hitler before, and if he could draw, you'd book him in the club. So I'm thinking because I'm going to change my comedy name to Literally Hitler.
Literally.
That's the big phrase that all the woke people use now when they don't like somebody. Like,
yeah.
He's like literally Hitler.
Don, literally Hitler Jameson. That's nice. Right in the middle.
Good stage name,
Don Jameson. I like that. Adon instead of Adolf. Adon.
Adon Hitlerson.
Did anyone ruin a name more than Adolf ruined that name? You can't name anything Adolf.
Yeah, the mustache shape and the name are they have never come back.
Him, Charlie Chaplin, and Michael Jordan were the only ones that could pull it off. Whenever I tell people that, they're like, no, like, look, Michael Jordan had a Hitler mustache. Like, he did in a lot of pictures. And that's how badass he was. He was like, you know what? I'm so fucking famous. I'm going to get a Hitler mustache, and no one's going to say shit. And they did. No one said shit.
No, nobody said a word.
He's dribbling by John Stockton. Stockton's like, is that a Hitler mustache? Like, yeah, it fucking is. He's like, I don't care. Get the fuck out of the way, Stockton. You didn't care. It really – I hate to go like it was a better time, but I guess because we grew up in it, but my kids now, I mean, I enjoy a lot of things they do. Listen, I'll sit there and watch YouTube dumb fucking memes and TikToks because there are funny shit out there. I can evolve. I can laugh at things they're doing. But it really was a better time with the part where I didn't like knowing everything about everyone. I like getting to know people. If I meet a girl and I get a chance to talk to her on the phone, it was so exciting because you only knew her from school when you were younger, or in college, or even older. Like you only knew her from a spot you met her, and you get to talk to her and get to know her more. Now you just click a button, do fucking research. You know everything. You've already built up in your head what they are, how it's gonna last. It's not fun.
No, I know. That's and then now people won't date somebody like if they don't like their politics because politics is so divisive now. So they just go, oh, that person's a Republican. I won't date that person.
I had a person tell me they couldn't talk to me because I'm so conservative. I'm like, well, I'm not conservative. And they're like, well, you're all the shows you're on with conservative people. I'm like, yeah, they're popular. Once again, if Hitler had a show, if it was Hitler with Dave Landau, I'd go on the show. You know what I mean? I'm going on. He's got good viewership.
A plug's a plug.
I'm not political. I'm an attention whore. I'll talk about anything. Yeah, right now at my age, do I think that the conservatives make a little more sense in what they're doing than the liberals? Sure. But I also didn't grow up with conservatives and liberals. I grew up with Democrats and Republicans. Those are two different fucking things. I don't know what's happening now, but I know the guy who sniffs kids is creepier than the guy who used to be on a game show. So I'll take him.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've done a bunch of stuff for Fox News over the years, and and I'll always post it up, and I actually get very little blowback about it, but once in a while someone will be like, oh man, you've really become the big Republican lately. I go, it's not about what I am, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever. I go, they asked. That's as simple as that. They asked me to come on. If MSNBC or CNN asked me to come on, I'll go on those channels too. The Fox people just got a hold of me. I started doing shows on there. They liked me, and they kept asking me back. That's it.
If you hire me for a comedy show and you're paying the right amount of money, I'll do the Black Lives Matter show, and I'll do the White Guys Are Pretty Sweet show too. Whatever. I don't give a fuck. I'll do whatever fucking show you got. I don't care. I did a show for the Klan once. I didn't even know it, but I did for a chapter of the Klan in Connecticut. I was at the show, and it was in Wallingford, Connecticut, at a country club. And halfway through, I made a joke because they were very white looking, Aryan nation. I mean, now I know why, but I didn't know on stage. And I'm like, what's this, a Hitler Youth rally? And the guy goes like this. And I'm like, what? And he goes, we're the Klan. And I'm like, oh. I go, will that be on the check? And they're like, no, it's cash. I'm like, oh, because I kind of wanted the check. I wanted the check, but I got cash. Right. Yeah, and so I didn't realize I was doing it for it wasn't a fundraiser, so I don't feel that bad. It was just a show. But yeah, I'll do anything for anyone. I mean, not pedophile. I won't do a pedophile show.
Well, yeah.
I also like working with kids. It's like they're tough to work with, and they got to be on the show. It can't just be all adults.
I had a similar thing, Pat. Years ago, I ended up doing a show out in Queens at a dinner club for the mafia. But I didn't know I was doing it for the mafia.
Right.
I mean, I should have put two and two together. Like once I got there, they had an Italian singer on before the comedians. All
Oh,
like,
did they think you were the Don Jameson?
they must have, yeah.
So he's a Don,
Like,
like Corleone. He's Jameson.
we both had a severe misunderstanding of one another, apparently. So I go up, and I was like you. I had no idea. So, there's this whole table of Italian guys, pinky rings on top of pinky rings, the suits, the whole thing, and they were not enjoying me at all. So of course I start picking on them. I'm like, look at these guys. What are you guys talking about? Who are you going to put an ice pick in the back of their head after the show? And like, it got couple people laughed. There was some nervous laughter, and then it got real quiet. And then I finished up, and I walked out to the lobby, and the guy who booked the show had the money in his hand, and he just shoved it into my hand. He goes, "The A train's on the corner. Go there now." I go, "What happened?" He goes, what you said to those guys, that's pretty much what they were doing. So I just jumped on the A train and got out of Queens, man. Thank God.
When I first started doing this one club, it was run by a guy who I guess was in a biker gang, and I did not know that at the time. I ended up working there a lot and knowing him. So it was my first time at the club, and I went to an open mic. Back then when they ran it, you'd go to the open mic, and if you did well, the other owner was this like Italian guy who would just grab you and pull you in the back. And he was either going to tell you, "You're great. Are you available this weekend?" That's how he booked. Or, "You're fucking terrible. You better bring people next time." And that's what he would yell at you. So I went the first time, and there was this guy walking in the back, and he was a big biker, giant guy, and he had all these patches on, and it said "The Undertaker's" on it. That was the name of the biker gang. And he just walked by, and I said, he just yelled out, "You're not funny," like right before I even said anything. And I go, "What happened? Was the flying Hulk Hogan's taken?" And he goes, "What?" I go, "The fucking name, Undertaker." Ooh, I go, "Where's your entrance music, asshole?" And he goes, "You know what these patches mean?" I'm like, "Yeah, it means that you're an old Girl Scout. Fuck off." And then everybody laughed at that, and I continued. And so when I was over, the owner grabs me and pulls me in the back. And I'm like, "Is he gonna tell me I'm an asshole?" And he goes, "Dude, hilarious. I love the crowd work. You're fucking ballsy. You're great. Can you be here this weekend?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Also, back door. Those are real murderers. They will kill you. Go now." And I ended up working for them. I had to do a show for them once where a guy in their gang died, and they wanted to have a comedy show, which was real weird. And there was a younger kid, and I was making jokes, and I'm like, "Oh man, I'd hate to see the guy that, because it was a car accident. I was like, hate to see what you guys do to the guy that hit this guy with a car." And one guy goes, "That's going to be tough. He was the one who dug the ditch." And I was kind of quiet, and then no one else laughed, and I was like, I know what to do. So I held my drink up. I said, "To the ditch digger." And they're like, "To the ditch digger." And I found that's what the kid's role was. When they killed someone, he was younger, so he would go out to the woods and he would dig the ditch while they threw the body of the person they killed in there. And now they need a new ditch digger.
Yeah.
And don't think about jobs lost,
See, this is the glamour and the glitz that kids aren't getting on the Zoom shows these days.
Yeah, they're not. Listen, anyone who's sitting there right now because you're in your COVID weird dream and you're like, because that's what's going to happen. After this is over and things do open up, the bucket list shit is going to be fucking insane. These people are like, what if this happens again? What if the world ends? I better go be a comic. It's going to be awful. So listen to this. These aren't good shows. Now, if you're a comic, you're asking who books the Mafia show, who booked my murder biker show.
Right.
But in real life, it's not all wonderful things. It's awful fucking shows. It's a lot of pain and suffering. It's having to tell those people, "Yes, I'll do whatever you say because I need your $200, $300 check to do the next show," whatever. And I miss those things like so much right now. Like that was a big part of it. And you learned about weird people. But right now, not being able to do those shows or not being able to do open mics in general has been killing me.
No, but you're right. It's like you have to figure out your way out of certain situations, man. That's what makes you, strong as a performer, man. I mean, one of the first times that parents came to see me, there was these two girls sitting in the front row, and they were really laughing hard. They were having a good time, so much so that they kept apologizing. "Oh, sorry." I go, "Listen to me. you never have to apologize for laughing at a comedy club. I said, but we're really loud. I go, that's all right.
Good.
You're not yelling shit out. You're not yelling things out drunkenly. You're laughing. Please keep laughing. And so now my focus is on one of the girls, and I go, oh, I like your tattoos. She goes, oh, thanks. I go, what? And she was wearing flip-flops. And I go, what's that one on your foot? She goes, oh, it's, nothing. I go, oh, come on. I'm like, what is it? She's like, oh, it's just, it's my ex-husband's name. I go, oh man, you got that on your foot and now you're stuck with that forever? He goes, well, I did it because he died.
On your foot?
Well, no, I didn't say that. And
no.
I go, and now the whole room got tense, and I hadn't said anything. She goes, well, don't worry, I'm remarried again. And I go, oh, okay, well, you don't have a tattoo on the other foot, so if this one goes, at least you'll have another foot to put the name on. And in my head, as I'm saying, I go, this will either end the night completely, and I'm only 10 minutes into an hour set, or this will destroy.
Yeah.
And I look over, my mother and my father are sitting there, and my mother is, pale, just waiting for what my response will be. And this all happened, Pat, it all happens in 1 second.
It feels like an hour, but you're watching all these things. It's insane.
And there was a half a second pause, and then the whole place fucking erupted.
Yeah. They had to, because she offered it up, and you also, that's the thing. If you started by just going, look at you with your fucking tattoos, you loud bitches, what's that? And then she said it died. The fact that you were like, no, you guys are great, you're laughing, you're fun, what's that? And then she offers up this weird fucking tumbleweed that you had to fucking fight through, and you turned it into gold. That's awesome. It's like, I do like when crowds talk with me and stuff like that. I hate when they're just drunks and don't give a shit. But yeah, I like when people are laughing, or like when they repeat a punchline, or they're excited about stuff. Like, yeah, be happy. I'm happy you're digging it. It's like, but that's my favorite moment, when you hear that second of silence, and right there in your head is like, this could either just end and stay silence and I'm walking away, or this is gonna explode. When they
started laughing, I said, hey, can you keep it down a little bit?
And that becomes like a running thing. Like, yeah, that's always fun when you find that one. It's like, oh, she didn't even laugh at that one. Like, oh boy. It's like, but when I was dating this girl one time, and we just started talking, and she had texted me and said, I have all these tattoos. Do you want to know about them? And I don't. None of us want to. But the more they want to tell you about their tattoos, the more you might get to see where the tattoos are. So I'm like, all right, fine. And she's like, I have a couple on here and there, whatever. And on my back, I have like this whole, like it's like Heaven's Gate. I'm like, okay. And then she's like, on there are a couple animals, and there's initials on each animal. I'm like, all right. And I know she had told me she just had one kid, so I'm like, almost like family or whatever. I don't know. She goes, do you want to know what it means? I'm like, fine, sure. And she's like, each animal, each initials is for one of my stillborn children. And I was silent, and then I was like, well, I guess we can't fuck from behind, because I can't get hard over a graveyard. That was not a crowd. It was just one person. But then she paused and then laughed. And I'm like, oh, good. Oh, thank God. Fast forward, we broke up, and then I did a show, and I tried to make that into a bit. And I didn't know she was there. And after the show, she goes, was that about me? But I kind of changed it a little bit. I go, no. I date a lot of girls with stillborn baby tattoos. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say she told me all the tattoos were tattoos of her stillborn children. So naturally, I proposed.
Yeah. At least I know if I come in her, it's fine. It's like, won't have to spend any money. In the joke, I would say, like, we always come on her back and hope stem cells brought the babies back. Yeah, that was one where half the crowd popped and half was like, all right, you could have left it where it was. It was fine. I think we all have a couple of jokes that, even though we know the crowd's going to get sour, it's just fun for us to tell. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if you're feeling good and you're like, yeah, this crowd's digging it. They're going to trust me now. They're going to allow me chances. I always like that one where, like, I'll even say, I go, I'm going to lose 99% of you right now, but I'll get you back. It's fine. But it's fun to have those.
I loved it. I love it. I love any comedian who does stuff like that, because it keeps you guessing. One thing I always love to do is the edgiest joke I have, or the dirtiest joke I have, with the cleanest joke I have, like a joke I could tell a kid.
Right.
because people then go, whoa, wait a minute, I'm still trying to process this, and then you come at me with this fucking PG-13, TV clean joke, and I think it makes things more interesting that way, man.
And what it does a lot is it is that great palate cleanser for the person who is sensitive to that and was raised to not laugh at. Listen, we all get mad about everything's comedy, it's quants, jokes, but everyone has different senses of humor, which is lovely about comedy. That's what I love about it, that there's all kinds of people in the world. We're trying to make them laugh. And there are people in the world who aren't going to yell and say they're offended, but it's not their cup of tea. So if they can sit there through that one and kind of smile, and then you give them something right away that makes them feel good and laugh, then they feel good about it and they can continue. And then when you do another dirty one again, they're like, well, it's okay because he's going to give me something for me too.
Yeah.
I gotta learn the cute stuff. I have a couple, I guess, that I think are cute, and they're like, that's not cute, but no. No, that's not cute at all. Like, I was doing a show one time, and a guy kept yelling that he was a pedophile. Like, yeah, that's how drunk the guy was in the audience. He's just like, I'm a pedophile. And I guess someone earlier, like the opening act, must have called him one, and he thought it was part of the show. And so at one point, I'm like, must be confusing for you at court, like, because there's no kids there and that's not fun. And then I was like, and I go, and you don't understand things like restraining orders because it's a big word. You're dumb. It's like, you're like, oh, judge, I'm sorry. I don't understand. What's that in kid dick? And he laughed. Half the crowd looked, and some lady goes, you should never measure things in kid dick. And I'm like, well, then how do you measure if you're a pedophile? That's all they know. Like, they need a kid dick ruler. And then I paused and went, oh, that sounds like the king of pedophiles, the kid dick ruler. And the lady's like, just stop. I go, I can't stop. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is going to continue. Every time you talk now, man, I'm going to say more terrible pedophile things. I can't help it.
Yeah, and then you just have this triangle of agony going on in the crowd.
What's funny is, like, with the way things work, if I did that joke now, someone would just go, Jeffrey Epstein, and they would all cheer. It's like, it depends on when the time is. Like, but a couple of years ago when being a pedophile wasn't cool, I guess. So it's like,
Well, and now, Pat, it's crazy because, like, there was, for so long, we would at least have a grasp on what would trigger most people. Like, you would know, all right, I know this joke's it'll get a laugh, but it'll get a groan. This will get, you kind of, after you do it for a while, had an idea. Now it's just like everybody feels like they have to reveal their triggers. So it's like, you can't get a group of people in a room to decide on, like, just give me, what's the 3 triggers in the room? Now if you have 100 people in the room, it's 100 different triggers. And then even more than that is, like, now people get mad at you for things that you don't say. Like, especially if you work at clubs in the city and everybody's doing anti-Trump jokes.
right.
And then you go up and you talk about Trump, but you're not against him. Like, people start getting mad at you not, and it's like, some girl, like, I was talking about Trump, and I wrote a joke that even the most hardcore millennials or Generation Z would laugh at, where I say, I want Trump to build the wall between us and Mexico. And I go, don't judge me. Here's why. Because I think Chinese tourists should have a wall to visit when they come to our country. But
there's nothing offensive about that joke. You named the wall.
And it's not political at all, right? And this 20-something-year-old girl put her hood up on her sweatshirt, pulled it tight, and looked down, wouldn't look up to me anymore. And I just laid into her. I go, oh, what? Why? Because I didn't bash Trump, because I didn't call him an orange-headed colostomy bag or anything like that. I go, the 9 people before me just told all those jokes. That's what you wanted from me? Because I didn't destroy the guy, then my jokes don't count. Like, it's insane.
It is incredible. Like, even worse what you're saying, the trigger stuff, it's not even like now what's offending them. People are thinking about what's going to offend other people. They're in the audience, like, it doesn't even offend them, but they're like, that person can't say that. What if someone here was in a wheelchair? I'm like, They know they're in a fucking wheelchair. Like
Right.
they got it. They've been in the wheelchair the whole fucking time. Like I do a couple of jokes about handicapped people, but they're not shitting on them. It's just jokes about the situations. But now it's like you can't even broach it. It's like what happened to trust? We're the comics. We're writing jokes. Trust us that we're gonna bring. We're not up here for you to hate us. We're not showing up so you're gonna have a bad time. We know what we're doing. You don't know what you're doing. You're uncreative. That's why you're in the audience with your significant other because you're so boring. You need to go somewhere so someone else can give you dumb thoughts because you're stupid. Let us do it. Stop overthinking it. You're not a good person. The simple fact that you're thinking about all the bad things we could say makes you a bad person.
Right. Exactly. And it used to be when you were in a club and it was a mixed audience with, say, you know, a lot of older people and then a bunch of younger people. When you told an off-color joke, the young people, you would actually look at the older people to like, oh my God, that's gonna offend them.
Right.
But the older crowds are always the best crowds. Now it's the opposite. Now the older crowd looks at the younger people because they know how fucking triggered they are by everything. So that, you know, you do an edgy joke, the old people will laugh at it, but now they're looking, oh, but there's all those the young people at that table over there. They're not going to like that joke. And it's like, nobody worry about anybody else.
Yeah, I used to think the two best audience members, if you're blanket stating them, were fat black women, sassy fat black women, and gay men. Because they had dealt with so much shit in their life, they could laugh at everything. And it was just like they had fun because they've always caught shit and they don't give a fuck and they're tough. But now I add white couples over 60 because lately I've noticed the same thing. I'll do jokes that cater more to them or talk about I have a big joke about them fucking because it's like these young people are like, oh, they don't like, no, your grandparents fuck a bunch, like so much. And they invented what you do. Like your grandma invented the rusty trombone. Like someone out there, someone's grandma got fisted first. I mean, it's amazing. Like their grandparents.
That was mine, by the way.
Yeah.
My grandmother was
Thank you.
first.
Why is there not a holiday for that? But think about like their grandparents. What they did, they came over on a boat and came here, so they could come here and then they could have a 3-way cuckold fuck fest. Like they invented that for us, and we appreciate it. But you're right. It really is. Whatever happened, like older people, our generation, we would laugh at things because life is hard and we just want silly. And now it's just like no, everything has to be serious. Even the funny things, we have to overthink what's supposed to be funny. It's like, that's your fun time. Why are you sitting there like a lifeguard policing and watching out for all the dumb words? Just calm down, relax.
Why isn't anybody laughing at these grandma fisting jokes?
Yeah. Listen, your grandma fisted. I don't even care if you laugh. I make sure that joke stays with you when you go into Thanksgiving and you look at grandma. That's all I want. I want you to, that's it. At the end of the joke, I say that. I watch older people's memories get ruined because I go, she sucked dick. I go, why do you think she had those little mints in her purse? And all their faces fucking get ruined. They're like, I'm like, yeah, I fucked your memories up. Those weren't for you, you son of a bitch.
When they see their grandmother stuffing the turkey, they're gonna think you're Joe.
Yeah, they will. Especially when she spits on her hand first and does it. You're like, whoa, grandma. I didn't know you could do that. But now, know what they would say? Grandma, you're not wearing a glove and a mask when you do that turkey. You have to stay 6 feet away from that turkey. It's like, if this new generation was already bad enough, the fear they're going to have now, children from 8 to 15, 16, the super impressionable ages are going to be destroyed. Even if this all goes away, they were taught fear right now. For a year or two in their lives, they couldn't go near people. They couldn't speak to people. I thank God my kids are 15 and 18. I didn't have to talk to like my sister has little kids, my nieces, and she had to sit there and talk to them and almost put fear into them to make sure they stay away from people. And I was like, that's a weird conversation to have with a kid to now a couple years later try to pull back. They're gonna be fucked.
Yeah, well, but the good thing is there might probably be a lot less pedophilia now because now they're scared kids are scared to be around everybody. So, you see Jeffrey Epstein coming and he doesn't have a mask on, you're going to run.
Yeah, but they're probably going to invent a finger and stick or something like that where you're 6 feet away and you can just still grab them. You know what I mean? Pedophiles are always thinking.
That's true. Hey, there's R. Kelly. Oh my God, he's famous. He's not wearing a mask. Run.
Yeah. Run. Yeah. I like how it wasn't it wasn't run before. It's like he's not wearing a mask. He's peeing on me. Yeah, but he wore a mask. It's fine.
Right. But they'll come up with some extensions of arm,
Or VR, virtual kid fucking.
Uh,
That'll be the thing now.
Finally.
But see, that's when we need the Chinese again because they're good at making that.
That's true. Well, that we can farm out to them.
Yeah, I miss some of that Chinese. Like, listen, like, there's never going to be buffets again. I've bitched about this a lot, but, like, buffets are gone as we knew them. They're going to be ruined forever. That was China's best export, the buffet. It really was. And now that even if we go, they're just going to scoop it to us. And I don't want someone doing it for me. I want to do it my fucking self. That's the whole point.
That was the fun of it, yeah.
Just get whatever you want and being a fat piece of shit. Like, I was at a buffet at Mohegan Sun one time, and there was a guy, a couple obviously married for a long time, so the way they spoke to each other. The woman had a plate with like 8 different desserts on it. The husband just turned and went, "Take it easy," and then she put 4 back. And I fucking that's not going to be around anymore. And I love that. That's the way couples should talk. He wasn't a dick. He knows her. He wants her to take it fucking easy. You don't need 8 cheesecakes, bitch. Calm down.
Yeah, I don't want somebody served. I'll kill myself. Don't you worry about it.
When we order, even if you're a piece of shit and you order food from a waitress, you still think about, like, she's going to judge me on this order. We all think that. When you're just walking up and getting shit, like, when I watch little Asian guys get all the mussels, like, they just take them till there's no more. Like, they're not going to ask for all the mussels. Like, let that motherfucker have all the mussels. It's his time to shine.
Yeah, if I want cheese cubes and ranch dressing on my slice of lemon meringue pie, let me have that.
Yeah, if I want to tell a person that's never spoken English how to cut my meat, I will. I'm going to point to it, and then I'm going to say, put mashed potatoes on top of it, put some weird gravy on top of that. I'll put a pineapple. I don't give a fuck, and I'm probably not going to eat it, and I'm not going to tip the person who's carrying all this shit 80 times because they're not a real waitress, even though they've cleared the table way more than any real waitress ever would. They literally have to walk over like a vulture and get my bones, but I'm not going to give them more than $1 because fuck them. That's the American way.
When you and I do our Twitter confrontation shows, we'll also have a buffet.
At the yeah, and that's it. Whoever loses the roast battle has to serve the food.
Yeah, or eat it. It could go either way.
I guess it could go either way. Imagine if from this someone did go, "Listen, I have a problem with both of you. This is my address." It's like, are we really doing this tour? Like, it'd be the weirdest fucking tour. It's like, I don't want to meet them.
What does it pay? That's the only question I have.
There's no way trolls have money, do they?
What does it pay?
Trolls don't have money. Have you noticed that too? I mean, I'm sure. I know you guys you're putting together your big shows now, but right? You're doing the metal show. You're doing a comedy a show with that, right?
Yeah. We're doing a thing here in Lakewood at where the minor league baseball team plays.
Nice.
There's Motley Crue had to cancel their stadium tour, so the 3 of us knuckleheads said we'll do our own stadium tour. So yeah, September 18th in Lakewood, New Jersey. Me, Jim, and Eddie doing that metal show live. But dude, I've done virtual shows. I did a show in an alley. I did a show in an outhouse. I mean, you tell me what it pays. I'll be there.
I've done a bunch of backyard stuff. Luckily, there's a club in Connecticut that I work at that I've been inside a lot. So that's been good there, and that's been nice. But like, I didn't do the virtual show. I don't know. I need the energy in the room. I didn't want to do it. And I was doing this so much. I didn't want to mix them up. You know what I mean? It was 2 different vibes. But getting back to your show there. So like, are you seeing that with shows like that? Because I know like, some clubs are like, well, we can pay you, but since there's less people coming in, we can't give you this or that, whatever. Is it harder? Now you have to think about, like, it used to be door deal, just sell it out. Now it's like, well, so sellout's a third of what we actually hold, so therefore we can only guarantee this. But even like the cap money you're going to get or the bonus isn't the best because you can't really sell anything out.
Hey, listen, I tell everybody I've made a living on undercutting people, so
nice.
People know. People know I'm known in the industry as the affordable Jim Florentine.
Affordatine. I like that.
Affordable.
Affordatine. That would be your name.
Yeah. If you can't afford Jim Florentine, I'm the next call on the list.
It's so funny with that. Like when I was on your show and someone's like, "Who's that?" I go, "Remember Metal Show?" Like, "You're on Florentine show?" I'm like, "No, remember the other guy?" They're like, "Yeah, the other guy. Yeah, he's a." They're like, "Well, what's the name of his show?" I'm like, "Well, that Jameson show." He's like, "Well, that makes sense, but it's not metal." I'm like, "No, it's still metal. But it's him." They're like, "All right."
Yeah, when we were touring, when we were all working every weekend and going on the road and stuff, I would get mistaken for him 3 or 4 times, and I would tell him. He goes, "Oh yeah, I was in Kansas City. I got called Don 4 times." Yeah, it was like, all right.
Oh, and you guys are interchangeable parts in that way, where it's like I think people expect to see the other one there if one of you's there. Like, where are you? Why aren't you together constantly, 24/7 a day? It's like,
right. Why is he in Minneapolis? Why don't you do this gig together? And it's
do you notice that with the name of that Jameson show? Did that like help people know to come over because it was close enough to the name That Metal Show?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because I'm doing a show now. We're starting it next week, but with Bob Levy, John Moses, and Kevin Dombrowski. And Levy wants to do Miserable Men 2.0 because he had Miserable Men on Sirius XM. And part of my thought is like the fans of that associate that with Stern and Sirius, and now this is none of that. And I'm not. None of us are Shuley or whatever. It's a great dynamic. I think it can really work out, and we're excited about it. But it's weird to have a name that some people will know, but it's not the same thing. And also 2.0 is like Bob's like, well, that means it's newer. I'm like, it did in 1994. Like, like it's not even like a cool version now. But I was just thinking of the same thing. It's like people are like, well, I remember Miserable Men. Well, none of them are Shuley, so fuck this. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
And where's Stern's power? Like, no, we have none of that. And I don't even know if it's legal. I don't even know if Bob really does own the rights to the name. I'm sure he doesn't.
No, but look, by the way, That Metal Show's not. I don't even think it's trademarked or anything. So,
really? I mean, you would think it would be trademarked at this point.
So
no, there's merch, right?
What's that?
You had merch.
Yeah. But so I mean, VH1 could claim intellectual property, but. Right. Nobody that we worked with is even there anymore. So I don't, Pat, I just do what feels right, and then I worry about 100%. The lawsuit after.
That same here. Like, you had the same thoughts I have. As long as the people you dealt with aren't there anymore, for some reason my head means the paperwork went with them, which isn't true, but that's how I feel. Like, I was on a reality show, Extreme Cheapskates, where I was paid $50 to pretend my mom was dead, and that was the whole thing. And I signed a paper saying I will not say that this wasn't real. I have jokes on an album about it. I talked about it on my pilot for Compound. I don't stop because first of all, I got paid $50 B, my mom's alive. Like that's not like all you have to do is look up. My mom is alive. My mom comments on the thing. Hi, still alive. It's not real. So it's like, go ahead and sue me. I'd rather talk about it. But same thing. I didn't start talking about it until I found out the guy who produced it quit. And I was like, oh, he's gone, so I can do it.
Yeah, and all my comedy album covers are parodies of rock albums, and people are always like, did you get permission from them? And I go, no. I go, I can't find a band that'll sue me. That's the problem. I could use the press.
That's when people are like, when I say certain jokes on Twitter or whatever, and they're like, are you ever getting canceled? I'm like, I hope I get famous enough so I can be canceled. I mean, that's my whole goal. I would love to be known enough. The second I get the fame to that, I want someone to cancel me right away. I want to get knocked down the second I'm up there. I would love that.
Yeah, if we would have had cancel culture back in the day, we could have just had a nice short 6-month career and gotten out of this lousy business.
Yeah, I mean, we would have done better in life. It really would have helped us then. Now it's a weird thing where it's like you're almost hoping to get that because half the comics who get canceled get better gigs.
You're right, exactly.
They get turned around. Like the album cover thing, like you said, I have one where I was at an open mic one time and they had the mic where the table was set next to other people eating at the mic, and one guy was sitting facing the audience like I was. Like it was weird. Like, he wasn't facing me. He was facing like he was on stage too. Big fat guy eating a sandwich, totally focused on the sandwich. And I didn't notice I was just doing the mic. A buddy of mine took a picture of it. Goes, this is fucking amazing. And it became my album cover because it was just, and he's like, do you need to ask that guy? I'm like, fuck that guy. That guy couldn't even turn around and watch me. I mean, that's exactly who I am in life, knowing that when I'm trying my best, nobody gives a fuck. And that's what I thought was the perfect thing for it. But I'm not going to find that guy and say, do I have permission to put your ignoring fat face on here? Fuck off. Hey Don, thanks for doing it. Where can they follow you? All that stuff. Plug your stuff.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those wonderful sites that we mentioned before.
Don't be mean to us. We just talked about how we're nice people, and if you are, I guess just book us at your house.
You book us at your house. We'll confront you at your home. We'll roast you. If you have anything negative to say, write to Pat, because he writes back to everybody.
I think I'm going to learn from you and not do that. It's like I need to be counseled.
But yeah, and that Jameson show every Tuesday at 12:30 on Compound Media that have been there over a year now, man. And welcome you to the family. You're such a funny dude. I appreciate you having me on your show, and you'll be on my show.
I'm going to be on the 29th. I'm excited about it, man. It'll be cool. And that's my first time coming to the city since all this, so I'm excited about it. So
good. Yeah, you'll sit in with me. We'll breathe COVID on one another, and we'll have a good time.
We're gonna breathe it hard. We'll have a weird fan sitting on the couch staring at us, going, "Is that Florentine? And did Berg get a beard? Does Berg have a beard now? Like, no, he doesn't have a beard now."
Right. And then we'll become super spreaders, and then we'll see if we can get ourselves canceled.
Listen, if we're gonna spread, it's gonna be super. That's all I'm saying. Don, thanks so much for doing it, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.